Several political parties as well as civil rights organizations have been gathering at the Church Square in Pretoria to protest against the high fuel prices. Several taxi operators have joined the protest action, and they've been arguing that a 20% reduction of the fuel levy could bring the petrol price down by about R1 a litre. The march aims to put pressure on governments to reduce the fuel levy and bring down fuel prices. The fuel price will go up again by 1 cent a litre from midnight. Prices are currently around R16 a litre, with a marginal 1 cent a litre increase taking effect tomorrow, along with a 4 cent decrease for diesel and a 4 cent increase for paraffin. Well, South Africans have expressed frustration regarding another fuel price increase, and today they took to the streets to call on the government to protest the steep price. And since the first Wednesday of July, motorists have been paying between 23 cents and 26 cents more for a litre of petrol, while diesel costs between 24 cents and 26 cents more per litre. The Automobile Association, the AA, says current data suggests a price rise of 19 cents a litre for petrol, 13 cents for diesel and 22 cents for illuminating paraffin. Spokesperson for the Automobile Association, Layton Beard, joins us from our Pretoria studios. Good afternoon, Layton.
Hi, good afternoon. Good to be with you.
Yeah, the AA earlier said if the prevailing rent and fuel price trends persist for the rest of this month, it could not rule out the possibility of further volatility. Is this trend likely to continue?
Yeah, it's very difficult to speculate what's going to happen. I mean, obviously there are two major factors which influence the fuel price. The one is the Rand-US dollar exchange rate. And as we know, that's been pretty volatile over the last couple of months. It seesaws. At one time it was at 13 Rand 80. Today it's around about 13 Rand 10. So it really does teeter-totter quite a lot in terms of where it's going to end at the end of the month, which is exactly why the Department of Energy uses an average smoothed out amount for the calculation at the end of the month. So it's very difficult to speculate what the Rand is going to do in that volatile environment. And then the other major factor obviously is international petroleum prices. And as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, there certainly has been a stabilization in those prices. So if the international petroleum products price stabilizes as it has done over the last couple of weeks, and the Rand continues to strengthen against the US dollar, then the outlook for the end of August going into September could be quite positive. But again, it's really early days in August. I think we'll have a look at it towards the middle of the month and have a clearer picture of exactly where the fuel price is going for September. But for now, I think we're looking at a 1 cent increase for the price of fuel. It is an increase. It's not a decrease, but it's not a significant increase. And I think from our perspective, it is a breather for motorists and road users.
Well, from your perspective, one has been looking at the trajectory of the price of Brent crude, which was very resilient in the past few months, and it almost touched at the $80 per barrel. Given that it has retreated, what do you make out of the current increase? Is this a reprieve for consumers, or rather motorists, I beg yours?
Yeah, I actually think that your term consumers is the right one, because I think any fluctuations in the fuel price is going to affect consumers across the board. It doesn't only affect motorists and motorcyclists, and it affects everybody. It affects people who use public transport, and it also affects people who buy food from stores, because as we know, that food has to be transported across the country. And when the fuel price increases, wholesalers need to absorb those costs, and they do that by passing any increases on to consumers. It's very difficult, like I said, to speculate what's going to happen with with international product prices. When these prices do go down, then obviously that is offset against the Rand-US dollar exchange rate. If both of those indicators decline, then the outlook is positive. determining what's going to happen in a week or two's time is particularly difficult, because we've seen at one stage at the beginning of the month, we will make a prediction saying that fuel is going to increase. But then both of those indicators towards the middle of the month have gained ground, and the indications are that there's going to be a very nominal or even a decrease to the fuel price. So it is very difficult to speculate on a day-to-day basis which way the fuel price is going to go. Is exactly why we need to look at the trend over a month period, as the Department of Energy does, and then get averages to determine whether there's going to be an under or over recovery in the fuel price.
Well, I mean, on the other side, when we look on the international front, the OPEC countries, do you think their decision on negotiating on whether or not to increase production per day?
Look, increased production means that there is more available, which definitely is going to affect the price of oil. International product prices are obviously linked to that, and so again, you know, any movements in that are going to affect the fuel price. And I think what we would like to see in South Africa, or you know, what we hope to see, is obviously a very strong rand against the dollar and international product prices which are low and are stabilizing on a low ebb, which means that over a period of time they remain low, so that there aren't fluctuations as we've seen in the fuel price locally. Every litre of petrol that people buy. So it's around 33% of every litre of petrol. And I think from our perspective, we understand that consumers and that the South African public off. So I think when you look at fuel prices, you need to look at the general economy, you need to look at how government is managed, you need to look how SOEs are managed. You need that these institutions are efficient and are working to the benefit of South Africans, because I think that's where the frustration comes in. So it is a very big issue. We understand that there is a certain zeitgeist around the fuel price in South Africa, but again, I think from our perspective, it's an economics issue and it needs to be dealt with through the economy.
Well, Layton Beard speaking to us live from Pretoria. He is the spokesperson of the Automobile Association, otherwise known as the AA. Thank you very much for your time.